children, welcome back once again, still on the cash book. So now we are going to put the information we have here into the cash book. So before we start, let's look at our question. The question says, enter the following transaction in the account of Major Nigeria Limited. And on the September 1st, we have a balance brought down from last month. Cash we have 21,300. Bank we have 42,000 naira. On the 2nd, they received check from Oge, which is 38,000 naira. On the 4th, there was a cash sales of 62,700 naira. On the 6th of September as well, the office need to pay rent in cash, which is 10,000 naira. On the 7th, the bank cash. And anywhere you see a question that has to do with bank cash or withdraw cash from bank, that particular question is a contra entry. So on the 7th, the bank cash, which is 16,000 naira. And on the 15th, there was a cash sales paid into bank, which is 18,000 naira. On the 23rd, they paid check to Zena, which is 40,600 naira. On the 29th, the withdraw cash from bank. This is also a contra entry and it's 15,000 naira. On the 30th, which is the last transaction that was carried out on that month of September, the paid wages in cash, which is 25,000 naira. So now let's go over to the cash book, how to post the information into the cash book. And before you start posting your information, you have to rule your cash book. First of all, we have to start with our solution. After the solution, then you can start ruling the cash book based on the number of columns you have. So for this cash book, we are dealing with the double column cash book, which have to do with cash and bank. And at the middle of that cash book, I have a two rulings. That line separates the debit side from the credit side. Remember in our last week lesson, I told us that every expenses you made, you credit it. It should be at the credit side. Any expense, any income that enters into the business or anything you are doing, so you do what? You debit it. So now let's start posting our information into the cash book. We have the dates, we have the particular, we have the volume, we have the cash, the bank on the debit side. And on the credit side of it, we also have the date, particular, volume, cash, and bank. And this ruling signifies the separation from the debit and the credit side of the cash book. So now let's start posting. On the September 1st, we have our balance brought down. Cash, we have 21,300. And the bank, we have 42,000 naira. So the cash, we have to write it under the cash column, and the bank, we have to write it under the bank column. The cash means that was the cash, the physical cash they have at hand, and the money they have in bank is 42,000 naira. On the 2nd, check from Oge. Since it's a check, it has to do with bank, so they receive it from Oge and it's an income. So you have to debit it and it should be recorded under the bank column. On the 4th, there was a cash sale. So when somebody buys something from you, the person pays you. So it is an income. So what will happen? You debit it. And since it's a cash sales, you record it under the cash column. That is why we have our 62,700 naira. On the 6th of September, they paid rent in cash. You know you pay and it's an expenses. So I said we should credit all expenses. And what do? We have to record it on the credit side of the cash book. On the 6th, paid rent, 10,000 naira. Since the rent was paid in cash, so we have to record it under the cash column. On the 7th, we have bank cash. I told us earlier that bank cash is a contra entry because it's a cash that the company paid into the bank. So it is a contra entry. You find out that you debit cash and it will be recorded under the bank column, and on the credit side you do what? You credit the cash, and under the particulars you write bank. So you find out that the two accounts have balance. And on the 15th we have a cash sales. The cash sales is 18,000 naira. Why is it recorded under the bank column? Because the cash sales was paid into bank. And on the 23rd, they paid check to Zena, which is 40,600 naira. Since they paid out, it is an expenses, so you have to credit it. And we have check 40,600 naira. It has to be under the bank column because it's a check. On the 29th, we have withdraw cash from bank, which is 15,000 naira. It is a contra entry because they have to withdraw the cash from bank. So what will happen? Under the debit side, you write bank, and on the folio you put contra, so they will know that it's a contra entry, and you have to debit the cash column. And under the credit side of the account, we also have the 29th. So under the particular you write cash, the folio you put the contra, the word C, to indicate that it is a contra entry, and you credit the bank column. On the 30th, which was the last transaction, they paid wages in cash, which is 25,000 naira. Anything paying is an expenses, so it's the wages and they paid in cash. So you record it under the cash column. So now we are done posting all our information into the cash book. What we have to do next is to balance the account. Why balancing the account? You always start from your debit side, because the debit side signifies the income that enters into the business, while the credit side signifies all your expenses. So now let's start calculating. By the time you sum up all those figures we have here, it will give us 109,000 naira under the cash column. Then the bank column will give us 114,000 naira. Now let's move over to the credit side of their cash book. When you sum up the credit side of the cash book, which is the cash column, we find out that after summing up all those figures we have, and what are you going to sum? This one, this, and this, and it will give us this figure here, 66,000 naira. So you have to write it somewhere here. That is why I have it here. By the time I finish summing up this bank, I'm going to sum up only this one because that is the only transaction I posted. It will give me 55,600 naira. What will I do next? I have to subtract this 66,000 and 55,000 from the debit side, because the debit side is bigger than the credit side, because it's out of the debit side that you made your expenses. And we start subtracting. 109,000 minus 66,000 will give us 43,000 naira. That is why I have this 43,000 naira here. Then 114,000 minus this 55,000 will give us 58,400 naira. By the time I sum up everything together, I will now have a balance of 109,000 under the cash column and 114,000 under the bank column. Now our accounts are balanced, and on the particular you see that I have balance carry down, which is the balance. that is remaining after the expenses. Now for that month, the company has cash of 109,000 naira, and in their bank account they have 114,000 naira. And at the end of the month, and these are the expenses they made: 66,000 naira cash and 55,600 naira bank. So by the time we finish our subtraction, we have a balance of 43,000 naira in cash and 58,400 naira in bank. And now what I have to do next is to go back to the debit side of the cash book. And that is, I have to do October 4th, because the September has ended. October 4th, I have my balance brought down, which is 43,000 naira under the cash column and 58,400 naira under the bank column. So this money is the money they are going to start up the business in October. Okay, that will be all for now. If you have any question, I'm here to attend to you. Bye for now.